The morning sun shone bright over New Haven Colony. Children ran through the gardens, laughing as they chased each other around the tall flowers. Their parents watched from benches, smiling at the peaceful scene. Nobody knew this would be their last day alive. Sarah Chen was hanging clothes on her line when she heard her daughter Emma call out, "Mom, look at the pretty lights in the sky." Sarah looked up and saw strange flashes of blue and white high above the clouds. She frowned. Those weren't stars, and it was daytime. In the colony's main square, people stopped their shopping to stare at the sky. The lights were getting bigger and brighter. Old Marcus, who ran the bakery, squinted at the growing shapes. "Those look like ships," he said quietly. They were ships. Massive ones. The Zephyrian Empire had arrived. Admiral Crix stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at the small human colony below. His 4 eyes glowed with satisfaction. This would be easy. Humans were known across the galaxy as peaceful farmers and traders. They had no real military, no advanced weapons. They were soft creatures who grew food and wrote poetry. How many humans lived down there? Crix asked his second-in-command. 2 million, sir. Men, women, and children, Crix nodded. Perfect. The Empire needs to show strength. Destroying a human colony will send a message to other weak species. They'll know what happens when they don't pay tribute to us. The first bombs fell without warning. Sarah was still looking at the sky when the explosion threw her to the ground. Her house disappeared in a ball of fire. Emma's scream was cut short. The pretty garden where children had played moments before was now a smoking crater. Marcus dropped his bread as the bakery next to his shop exploded. The heat burned his face. He ran toward the main street, but another blast knocked him down. Around him, people were screaming, running, burning. The colony's emergency center burst into action. Commander Jack Sullivan, the settlement's security chief, rushed to the communication room. His hand shook as he activated the emergency beacon to Earth. "Mayday, Mayday! This is New Haven Colony. We are under attack." "Repeat, we are under attack by unknown alien forces," Jack shouted into the transmitter. "They're bombing civilian areas. We need immediate help." The signal traveled through space at light speed, racing toward Earth, but Earth was so far away. Even at the speed of light, the message would take hours to reach home. Above the colony, Admiral Crix watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. The human buildings were burning nicely. He could see tiny figures running through the streets like ants. Some were trying to escape in small ships, but his fighters shot them down easily. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the colony," his communications officer reported. "Put it on speaker," Crix ordered. He wanted to hear the humans beg. Jack's desperate voice filled the bridge. "Please, we're civilians. We have children here. Why are you doing this? We never hurt anyone. We just want to live in peace." The Zephyrian officers laughed. Crix smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Humans," he said with disgust. "Always begging, always crying about their children. This is why they'll never rule the galaxy. They're too weak." He turned to his weapons officer. "Destroy their communication center. I don't want to hear any more crying." The laser blast hit the colony's communication tower just as Jack was sending another message. The transmission cut off mid-sentence. "Earth, please help us. They're going to kill everyone. We need..." Silence. The attack continued for 3 hours. The Zephyrians were thorough. They destroyed every building, every ship, every person they could find. When they were finished, New Haven Colony was nothing but smoke and ash. 2 million humans were dead. Admiral Crix looked at the ruined planet with satisfaction. "Good work," he told his crew. "Let this be a message to all the weak species in the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire shows no mercy to those who don't pay tribute." He had no idea that his message was about to reach the wrong audience. 27 light years away. On Earth, the broken transmission finally arrived. In the deep underground military command center, alarms began to wail. Red lights flashed. Officers ran to their stations. General Rebecca Harrison stood in the center of the command room, reading the partial message on her screen. Her face was stone cold. Around her, junior officers whispered in shock and fear. "Sir," Lieutenant Collins said quietly, "New Haven Colony is gone. 2 million people." The room fell silent. Everyone waited for the general's response. General Harrison looked up from the screen. Her eyes were hard as steel. "Activate Protocol Zero," she said in a voice that made everyone shiver. "Sir?" Lieutenant Collins asked. "Are you sure? Protocol Zero has never been... Do it now." Collins typed in his authorization codes with shaking hands. On the main screen, a classified file appeared. It was marked with words that made everyone in the room hold their breath. Protocol Zero, Total War Authorization, use only for species extinction, General. Harrison's voice echoed through the silent command center. "They wanted to send a message. Let's send them one back." General Harrison's fingers moved across the security pad. Each beep echoed through the silent command center. Officers held their breath as the classified file opened on the main screen. Protocol Zero, Species Extinction, Authorization. Lieutenant Collins read the first line and went pale. "General, this says, Total War, complete destruction of enemy species." "I can read, Collins," Harrison replied coldly. Her eyes never left the screen. "Send the activation codes to all hidden bases. Luna Base, Mars Station, Europa Deep, and the Outer Ring facilities." "Hidden bases?" Collins looked confused. "I don't understand. Those locations don't exist in our records." Harrison turned to face the room. Her voice was sharp as a blade. "Collins, you've been working in Earth's public military. What you're about to see is Earth's real military, the one we've kept secret from the galaxy for 50 years. Across the solar system, hidden doors began to open. On the dark side of the moon, massive metal plates slid apart. Underneath, a city-sized military base came to life. Thousands of ships that looked nothing like Earth's peaceful trade vessels sat in perfect rows. These were warships, black, deadly, and covered in weapons the galaxy had never seen. Mars looked peaceful from space, but beneath the red soil, enormous factories hummed to life. Robot workers began assembling weapons at incredible speed, missiles, energy cannons, and stranger devices that glowed with dangerous light. Commander Sarah Kim stood in Luna Base's main hangar, watching her pilots run to their ships. "You heard the General," she announced over the intercom. "Protocol Zero is active. This is not a drill. This is not a rescue mission. This is total war." Her pilots were grim-faced as they climbed into their fighters. These weren't the cheerful explorers that other aliens met at trade stations. These were Earth's real soldiers. Cold, professional, and very angry. Meanwhile, Admiral Crix was celebrating on his flagship. His officers drank Zephyrian wine and laughed about the easy victory. The humans had died without even fighting back. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving transmissions from across human space. Other colonies are going silent." Crix waved his hand dismissively. "Good, fear is spreading. Soon, all humans will know to respect the Zephyrian Empire." He had no idea that Earth was evacuating all human colonies, bringing everyone to safety before the war began. Back on Earth, General Harrison walked through corridors that didn't officially exist. Deep underground, past security doors marked with warnings in 12 languages, she entered the most secret room in human space. The Weapons Development Lab. Dr. Marcus Webb, Earth's top scientist, looked up from his work. His hands were covered in strange, glowing material. "Rebecca, I wasn't expecting you so soon." "Marcus, how long until the Nova project is ready?" Dr. Webb's face went serious. "The Star Killer. Rebecca, we've never tested it on a real target. The computer simulations show it can make a star go supernova, but..." "How long?" Harrison repeated. 6 hours to install it on the Dreadnought." "But Rebecca, using this weapon means..." "It means we end this war before it spreads," Harrison interrupted. "They killed 2 million civilians, Marcus. Children, families, people who never hurt anyone." Dr. Webb nodded slowly. "I'll prep the Nova cannon." Above Earth, space seemed empty and peaceful. But that was an illusion. Thousands of cloaked ships moved through the darkness. Earth's secret fleet was massive. Every ship was armed with technology decades ahead of anything the galaxy had seen. The flagship was the largest ship ever built by humans. The EWS Retribution was 5 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy planets. But its real weapon was still being loaded. Captain James Rodriguez stood on the bridge, watching the Nova cannon being installed. The weapon was beautiful and terrible. It looked like a giant crystal that pulsed with white light. When fired, it would send a beam that could destabilize a star's core. Captain, his first officer reported. All ships report ready. Fleet size 4,000 vessels. Rodriguez nodded. The Zephyrians had attacked with 50 ships and thought they were strong. They were about to learn what a real military looked like. General Harrison's voice came over the fleet communication system. Attention all vessels. 50 years ago, we decided to keep our true strength secret. We wanted to be known as peaceful explorers, not warriors. But sometimes, peace must be defended with war. She paused, looking at the tactical display showing the Zephyrian home system. They destroyed New Haven colony because they thought we were weak. They killed 2 million people to send a message to the galaxy. Today, we send our own message. The fleet began moving toward the hyperspace jump point. 4,000 ships invisible to alien sensors, carrying weapons that could destroy worlds. Our message is simple, Harrison continued. Touch our people and we will erase you from existence. Not just your ships, not just your planets. We will make your star explode. We will remove your entire species from the universe. Captain Rodriguez gave the order. All ships, jump to hyperspace. Destination, Zephyrian home system. Space twisted and bent as the human fleet vanished. Admiral Crix was still laughing about the weak humans when his sensors detected something impossible. Thousands of ships were dropping out of hyperspace around his home system. Sir, his tactical officer screamed, we have contacts. Massive fleet incoming. Crix looked at his screen and saw more ships than he could count. Who dares attack the Zephyrian Empire in our own system? The answer came as a broadcast from the lead human ship. This is Captain Rodriguez of Earth Military Command. You destroyed our colony. Now we're going to destroy your star. Admiral Crix stared at his tactical screen in disbelief. Thousands of human ships surrounded his home system like a deadly net. But instead of fear, he felt anger. Impossible, he roared. Humans don't have military fleets. They're farmers and poets. These must be stolen ships or allies helping them. His tactical officer's voice shook. Sir, we count over 4,000 vessels. They're using technology we've never seen before. Crix laughed, but it sounded forced. Numbers mean nothing. Our ships are superior. Launch all fighters and show these weak humans what real warriors can do. The Zephyrian fleet moved to attack. 2,000 of their best warships charged toward the human formation. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy. Crix watched with satisfaction as his forces closed in. Then the humans vanished. What? Crix shouted. Where did they go? His sensors showed empty space where the human fleet had been seconds before. Then without warning, explosions erupted throughout the Zephyrian formation. Alien ships died in balls of fire, but no one could see what was killing them. Captain Rodriguez smiled on the bridge of the Retribution. Stealth fields are working perfectly. The aliens can't see us, but we can see them. Human ships moved like ghosts through space. They appeared long enough to fire, then vanished again. Each shot was perfect. Each target died. The Zephyrians fired wildly at empty space while invisible human weapons tore their fleet apart. Commander Sarah Kim flew her fighter through the chaos. Her ship flickered in and out of visibility as she hunted enemy vessels. Fox leader to all units, she called over the radio. Remember your training. No mercy, no prisoners. They killed our families. Her fighter appeared behind a Zephyrian destroyer. One shot from her plasma cannon cut the alien ship in half. She vanished again before their return fire could touch her. Admiral Crix watched in horror as his fleet died around him. Ships exploded for no reason he could understand. His fighters spun helplessly, shooting at shadows. In 10 minutes, he lost half his forces. Sir, his communications officer screamed. The outer defense platforms are under attack. On his screen, Crix saw his massive space stations exploding one by one. Each station had enough firepower to destroy a small fleet, but they couldn't fight enemies they couldn't see. How are they doing this? Crix demanded. What kind of technology is this? His science officer's face was pale with fear. Sir, they're using some kind of light-bending field. Our sensors can't lock onto them. It's like they're not really there. The truth was simpler than the Zephyrians could imagine. Humans had developed perfect stealth technology by studying how light moved through space. While other species focused on bigger guns and stronger shields, humans learned how to become invisible. Captain Rodriguez watched the alien confusion with cold satisfaction. Tactical status report. Sir, we've destroyed 60% of their fleet. 0 human casualties. The aliens are firing at random coordinates. Some of their ships are shooting each other by mistake. Rodriguez nodded. Phase 2. Let them see us. The human fleet suddenly appeared in full view, but now they were in completely different positions. The Zephyrians found themselves surrounded, with human ships above, below, and on all sides. Crix's remaining ships were trapped in the middle of the human formation. Every direction he looked, he saw enemy weapons pointed at him. Impossible, he whispered. How did they move so fast? The answer was that humans hadn't moved. They had been in these positions all along. The stealth fields had hidden their true locations while projecting false images elsewhere. The entire Zephyrian attack had been against ghosts and shadows. Captain Rodriguez opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. His voice was calm and cold. Admiral Crix of the Zephyrian Empire, you are surrounded. Your fleet is destroyed. Surrender now, and we might let some of your people live. Crix's pride flared. Never! Zephyrians do not surrender to inferior species. All ships attack formation. Show these humans how real warriors fight. The remaining alien ships charged toward the nearest human vessels. Their weapons fired in desperation, but human shields absorbed the energy blasts like they were nothing. In return, human weapons tore through alien armor like paper. The battle was over in minutes. Only Crix's flagship remained, damaged and powerless. Rodriguez appeared on Crix's view screen. The human captain's eyes held no emotion, no anger, no hatred, just cold, professional determination. Admiral, your fleet is gone. Your defenses are destroyed. You have one choice: evacuate your home planet or watch everyone you love die when we destroy your star. Crix laughed bitterly. Destroy our star? Impossible. No weapon can. Look behind you, Rodriguez interrupted. Crix turned his screen to show space behind his ship. There, hanging in the darkness like a giant crystal of death, was the Nova cannon. It pulsed with white energy that hurt to look at. Power readings showed energy levels that broke Zephyrian instruments. Rodriguez's voice continued. We gave you 4 hours to evacuate your system. Use them wisely. Anyone still here when that weapon fires will die with their star. The communication ended. Crix stared at the impossible weapon, finally understanding the truth. Humans weren't farmers who had gotten lucky. They weren't weak creatures who needed help from allies. They were apex predators who had been pretending to be sheep. And now the wolves were awake. Admiral Crix's hands shook as he stared at the Nova cannon. The massive crystal weapon pulsed with energy that made his instruments scream warnings. Around him, his bridge crew whispered prayers to their gods. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, we're receiving panic calls from the home planet. 30 billion Zephyrians live down there. They're asking what to do. Crix closed his eyes. His pride had doomed his entire species. Tell them to evacuate. All ships, all stations, everyone. We have 4 hours. On the human flagship, Captain Rodriguez watched alien ships fleeing in every direction. Some headed for the outer planets. Others jumped to hyperspace, abandoning their home system forever. But a few remained, refusing to run. Sir, his tactical officer reported, several hundred alien ships are forming up for a final attack. They're not leaving, Rodriguez nodded. He understood. Some warriors would rather die fighting than live in shame. Let them come, but keep the evacuation ships safe. We're not monsters. Dr. Webb's voice came over the intercom from the weapons bay. Captain, the Nova cannon is at 50% charge. The graviton beam will destabilize the star's fusion core. Once fired, the star will collapse and then explode in approximately 10 minutes. On the planet below, chaos ruled the streets. Zephyrian families ran to escape ships with whatever they could carry. Children cried for toys left behind. Parents made impossible choices about what to save. The proud Zephyrian Empire was dying in panic and fear. Emperor Thax, ruler of the Zephyrians, stood in his palace watching the evacuation. His guards begged him to leave, but he refused. I will not run from farmers and traders, he declared. This is some kind of trick. Humans don't have weapons that can kill stars. His science advisor, old and wise, shook his head sadly. My lord, I've seen the energy readings. That weapon is real. It's technology beyond our understanding. We must leave now. Never. Thax roared. Send word to our remaining ships. Attack the human formation. Show them that Zephyrians fear nothing. In space, the last 300 Zephyrian ships charged toward the human fleet. Their weapons blazed with desperate fury. They knew they would die, but they wanted to take some humans with them. The human ships didn't move. They simply activated their shields and waited. The alien weapons struck with everything the Zephyrians had. Energy beams, missiles, plasma cannons, all their most powerful weapons hit the human ships at once. The explosions lit up space like a new sun. When the light faded, every human ship was still there, undamaged, untouched. Captain Rodriguez's voice echoed across all frequencies. "Your weapons cannot hurt us. Your technology is centuries behind ours. This is your last chance. Leave now, or die with your star." The remaining Zephyrian ships stopped firing. Their weapons were useless. Their crews stared in shock at enemies they couldn't even scratch. One by one, the alien ships began to retreat. Dr. Webb's voice came over the intercom again. "Captain, Nova Cannon at 90%. Star destabilization sequence will begin in 30 minutes. On the planet below, Emperor Thax finally understood. Through his palace windows, he could see the last evacuation ships leaving. His advisors had abandoned him. His guards had fled. He was alone with his pride and his mistakes. He activated his personal communicator and sent a message to the human fleet. "Captain Rodriguez, this is Emperor Thax. I was wrong. My people attacked your colony because I ordered it. I thought humans were weak. I was a fool." Rodriguez's reply was cold but not cruel. "Your Majesty, your ship is the last one on the planet. You have 15 minutes before we fire." Thax looked around his empty palace. 5,000 years of Zephyrian history surrounded him. Art, books, treasures from across the galaxy. All of it would burn when the star died. "Captain," Thax said quietly, "will you remember us? Will you tell the galaxy that we existed?" There was a long pause. Then Rodriguez's voice, softer now. "We'll remember, Your Majesty, but your story doesn't have to end here. Your people need their emperor to help them rebuild." Thax's pride warred with his love for his people. In the end, love won. He ran to his personal ship and fled toward the evacuation fleet. Dr. Webb announced, "Nova Cannon at full power. All ships move to safe distance, firing in 60 seconds." The human fleet pulled back to the edge of the star system. The Nova Cannon turned toward the Zephyrian sun, a massive yellow star that had warmed this system for billions of years. Captain Rodriguez gave the final order, his voice heavy with the weight of history. "Dr. Webb, you are authorized to fire." "May God forgive us." The Nova Cannon fired, a beam of pure energy, invisible to the eye but deadly beyond measure, struck the heart of the star. Deep in the stellar core, fusion reactions began to destabilize. The star's gravity, which had held it together for eons, started to fail. Rodriguez watched the readings on his screen. Star collapse beginning. Supernova in 10 minutes. All human ships, jump to hyperspace. Let's go home. As the human fleet vanished into hyperspace, the Zephyrian star began to die, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Zephyrian star began to shake. Deep in its core, billions of years of stable fusion reactions turned chaotic. The graviton beam from the Nova Cannon had broken the delicate balance that kept the massive star alive. What had taken nature billions of years to create, humans destroyed in seconds. Emperor Thax pressed his face against his ship's window, watching his home star flicker like a dying candle. Around him, thousands of evacuation ships fled through space, carrying the survivors of his once mighty empire. "My lord," his pilot said quietly, "we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Everyone is watching. They know what's about to happen." Thax closed his eyes. Soon, every species in the galaxy would know that humans could kill stars. The balance of power was about to change forever. From a safe distance, Captain Rodriguez watched his instruments count down the final seconds. "All stations report status." "Safe distance achieved, sir," his navigator announced. "We're 50 light minutes from the star. Blast shields up. All ships report ready." Dr. Webb's voice was heavy with the weight of history. "Captain, stellar collapse has reached critical mass. Supernova in 30 seconds. Rodriguez opened a fleet-wide channel. "All hands, we are about to witness something no human has ever seen. We are about to watch a star die by our own hand. Remember why we're here. Remember New Haven Colony. Remember the 2 million innocent people who died because aliens thought we were weak. 20 seconds. The star's surface began to ripple like water in a storm. Solar flares erupted across its face, each one larger than entire planets. The star was fighting its own death, but the fight was already lost. 15 seconds. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations watched their long-range sensors in terror. The Karathi Empire, which had been planning to demand tribute from human colonies, quietly cancelled their invasion plans. The Nexus Federation, which had ignored human trade requests for decades, suddenly found humans very interesting. 10 seconds. On the bridge of his escape ship, Emperor Thax whispered a prayer to his ancestors. "Forgive me. I have doomed our people with my pride." 5 seconds. The star's core reached critical instability. Nuclear forces that had burned steady for billions of years suddenly reversed. Instead of pushing outward, gravity won the eternal battle and pulled everything inward. 0. The star collapsed. For one impossible moment, the massive yellow sun compressed into a point smaller than a city. All that matter, all that energy, crushed into a space so tiny it seemed to break the laws of physics. Then it exploded. The supernova erupted with the force of 10 billion nuclear weapons detonating every second. Light brighter than 100 suns blazed across the star system. The shockwave traveled outward at incredible speed, destroying everything in its path. The Zephyrian home planet, which had been home to 30 billion people just hours before, vanished in the first second. The rocky world simply ceased to exist, turned to atomic particles by the stellar explosion. The outer planets followed quickly. Gas giants that had orbited the star for billions of years were swept away like dust in a hurricane. Moons, asteroids, space stations, everything in the system died in the expanding wall of destruction. Captain Rodriguez watched the explosion through heavily filtered screens. Even from 50 light minutes away, the supernova was too bright to look at directly. Communications, send our message to the galaxy. His communications officer nodded and opened a transmission that would reach every civilized world within 100 light years. This is Captain James Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force. Today, you witnessed the destruction of the Zephyrian star system. This was not an act of conquest. This was not an act of empire building. This was justice. The message continued as the supernova's light expanded through space. The Zephyrian Empire attacked our colony of New Haven without warning. They killed 2 million innocent civilians, men, women, and children who had never hurt anyone. They did this because they thought humans were weak. Rodriguez paused, watching the expanding shockwave destroy the last remnants of the star system. Let this be a lesson to every species in the galaxy. Humans are peaceful by choice, not weakness. We prefer to trade, explore, and build rather than fight. But if you harm our people, if you attack our families, we will respond with total war. The transmission reached the Karathi Empire first. Their war council, which had been meeting to plan human conquests, immediately voted to establish peaceful relations with Earth. It reached the Nexus Federation next. Their trade ministers, who had been ignoring human requests for fair trade agreements, suddenly found human proposals very reasonable. One by one, every alien civilization in the region received the message. Some panicked, some prayed. All of them understood. Emperor Thax, now ruler of a people without a home, recorded his own message. I am Thax, former emperor of the Zephyrian Empire. I speak to warn all who might consider attacking humanity. Do not make my mistake. Do not let pride blind you to the truth. His voice broke as he continued. Humans are not farmers who got lucky. They are not traders who hired mercenaries. They are apex predators who choose to be peaceful. But if you threaten their young, their families, their innocent people, they will erase you from existence. The supernova's light would travel for years, reaching distant worlds and carrying its message across the galaxy. Wherever that light touched, aliens would look up at their night sky and remember. Somewhere out there lived a species that could kill stars. On Earth, General Harrison received Captain Rodriguez's final report. The war was over. Justice was served. New Haven Colony was avenged. But more importantly, the galaxy now understood the truth about humanity. They were no longer seen as weak farmers or simple traders. They were the species that turned suns into weapons. And the galaxy would never be the same.